Hello, and welcome everyone to Astrology and Alchemy. I can't believe that we have been doing this show for as long as we have been doing, but it has always been me, your host, Paranormal Sarah, with host Matthew Slosier. And
hello, everyone.
It's 2024, Matt. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Get older and older.
Getting older and older, and then this month I'm doing something different than I usually ever do, which is that I put together a digital online journal. And so it actually highlights all of the big things and all of the big movements. And I'm kind of writing in my journal as we go. But then I also have a new website that is able to break down every little movement. And we're going to give it a shot tonight and see if it makes our stuff any more fine-tuned. I don't know if it will or not. But
Yeah, just think about this. I'm going to probably post it in the comments so people can listen. I know I was going to tell you this story, which has nothing to do with astrology.
Yes.
So I don't know if you maybe remember this. Folks on Sunday Night Dead might remember this story. But when, there's been activity in this house ever since we moved in, and very weird things. And I've told this story a couple times of, it was with the first week we had moved in, and I was on Christmas vacation, and I had to refill some prescriptions. So before I'm going to bed, like I took the script before I went to bed. I'm like, I got to refill that. So I have my phone, and I'm doing the CVS auto renew thing. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, this voice came onto the phone that not human, but human-like, just like, it was like horrible. Scared the shit out of me. Well, in just doing regular, like researching creepy stuff and listening to other creepy stories, there is a podcast that did an investigation in the Sally house. And the guy that was kind of just, it's funny because he's really kind of just like very respectful leaving it. And then, well, thank you for talking to us. Well, what got recorded in the interim is this like inhuman, some people say it's static. I don't think it's static. I actually make out words in it. But this inhuman, like screaming, yelling voice. And when I heard it today, I'm like, holy crap, that's the exact same thing that, not exactly, but I mean, it is like very, very comparable to what
Do you have the audio files?
What's that?
Do you have the audio files? Are you going to play them on Sunday Night Dead? Are you going to compare?
I don't have the audio. I didn't record it. I was on the phone with that one, and it just like scared the crap out of me. But, yeah, I'm going to try to find.
Hi, Steph. Hi, John. Hi, Maddie. Hi, everyone.
If anyone is curious, even though this has nothing to do with what we're doing now, and I'm going to say they did all kinds of warnings, because the one thing, and this is where I was a little hesitant, there are people that have this theory. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but there's people that have this theory that whatever the thing is wants like an audience, so it wants it to get out there.
Ooh, like The Ring.
So I will give you that warning on it. Hopefully that what I paste here is actually the link and not my Facebook post. But I have the actual just clip from the group. So if you want to listen to it, and I don't think it did. No, I think it did weird crap. Okay. All right, I'm going to try it again. It's just a bunch of code. I don't think that's going to help anyone.
Well, and did this happen after the message about the 1960 some recording of Ishtar?
Oh, I don't know. This would have happened. This is years ago. Like I think I just stumbled across the podcast because another podcast person did a story on it. I think they originally did this in 2018.
It's like Mothman.
So we'll keep talking because it's not letting me do this. So I'm going to multitask. So if I'm looking zoned out here, it's because I'm pulling up other things on this computer. It's not letting me do it, but I'm going to pull this thing up and I'm going to share it. But I will say, once you hear it, I mean, some people will be like, it's not that big of a deal. But once you hear it, it's like you can't unhear it. So listener beware.
He's determined. Matt's determined now.
Yeah, well, it didn't let me do something weird. So hopefully it doesn't mean that people can hack my.
Oh, we're hacking it now.
I'll find out very soon.
Well, I've got this new website up. You guys always know that I go to
I got it.
Did you really?
Give me a second.
Okay. theplanetstoday.com. And Steph said astonishing legend.
Astonishing Legends. That is it. And I
Yes.
just.
And I will
Oh,
say,
maybe it is working. It just looks weird on my end. So maybe people can access it. Steph, let me know.
I will say, I've
Yeah,
been to the
let
Sally
me know if that
House.
works. It's just from my end. Normally, it just shows like the link, and all I'm getting is like lines and lines of weird looking code
Yeah, it looks
when
like
I'm
Tara.
trying to share it. But that voice, very similar to that, the same kind of screaming, is what came through on my phone when I'm like 1 a.m. in bed, just like refilling my script with my phone, and scared the living crap out of me. But that was one of maybe about a half dozen things that
Oh my God.
happened when we first moved in here that let me know that we were going to
You
have to.
got something in your
Yeah, we
house.
got some wild stuff going on here.
You got something in your house. Man, Steph's clicking on stuff. She's letting us know you got to.
Okay, she said it posted as a bunch of gibberish and then the blue link. So good, as long as you can get to the link.
You can get to
It
it.
was weird.
Now, here's the deal. If you guys click on it and start having weird stuff happen in your house, that's on you.
Yep.
So be careful. Matthew and I said that. That's how that kind of stuff works. So just do
That's
your
why I'm not.
little.
That's why I'm not sure. Even on Sunday like that, I'm going to talk about it, and we might do some more experiments soon. But that's why, like, I hesitate. I haven't decided yet. Once I heard it, I haven't decided yet whether I'm actually going to play it live in this house.
Same thing said, or just the same
No, that same kind of voice. I'm not
same
going to say it's
voice?
exact, but it's like not. It's like very, very that same kind of screaming sounds, kind of personish, but not real, not animal, but not human.
Oh, the same sounding
Yeah,
voices.
you'll
So
know it if you hear it. It's a weird. And then they said I read some of the podcasts of what they think it's saying. I actually thought one of the last things it said was it burns, but which is weird. Um, they say it says get out, and it's like one of those things. Once you hear what somebody else thinks it says, it like biases you. But it's a lot of like screaming, like it's like between a growl and a scream, and it's not animal and not human.
Sally's house, I'm not messing around. I went to the Sally house with
Oh, you did?
yeah, I've been there
You
a few
there?
times.
That's right. That's fairly close to you. That would be like me going to like St. Albans or something. So
Right. And when I lived in Missouri, it was just right there. It was just like a little jump skipping away. And I went there and I did some filming with Mally McDonald back in the day from Darkness Radio. And it was really interesting. We had some really interesting stuff go down. And I think the Sally House is kind of one of those locations that I don't know if it's just because people go there and expect, I don't know. I think a lot of people go a lot of places and expect something and still have nothing happen. Sally House is pretty consistently wild. Um, so it's like it's a very popular attraction now. I think anybody can go. But at the time, like back in like 2007, 2008, it was, you didn't have to pay a bunch of money. You just went.
I still
As
got
we
to
get
say the
older.
closest thing to a D word type place that I've been to was a private. I have no idea who lives there anymore. What's going on was just a private residence.
No, Matt. That thing at Trans Allegheny, that thing at Trans Allegheny that slithers across the floor.
The creeper.
The creeper, and that you've experienced the creeper.
I have a picture. Huh? Now we're going to be going to.
I
We'll keep
can't
talking because
even.
we're going to be doing astrology. This is the wrong topic.
Yeah, right. Anyway, guys, back to
But
the
I'm
astrology
going to
show.
look. I'll share. If I can find that picture, I'm going to share that picture too. I think I got a picture of the. Is it? I think it's Nick Groff with that Katrina Weidman show where they
Yeah,
caught the
Nick and
video of it.
Katrina. Yep.
I got a picture in that same plate in that same spot that looks like it might be the same thing.
And it's
But
creepy, and
yeah,
those creepy crawlers. But you guys, for those very maybe tuning in for the first time, Matt and I, that's how we originally met when we were both doing research within the paranormal and traveling to locations. Matt's over there on the east side of the country, and I'm in the north side of the country. And so he's over there by the Trans Allegheny and doing all the crazy stuff. And I feel like being able to travel to some of those, Matt and I think are both pretty lucky. We've been able to travel to some pretty cool locations, do some investigations and researching. So if you have questions, we should maybe do a show like that to catch up on people.
yeah,
But tonight, the astrology.
yeah.
We try.
That's the Sunday thing. This is
That's
astrology.
right.
I'm just hijacking the topic tonight.
No, well, because when you start having weird stuff happen, and
Yeah.
there's been some weird stuff happening, stuff with Miami, stuff with all kinds of Miami aliens and World War III things, Mothman, all sorts of kind of stuff. I think when people get scared, psychosocial stuff just starts getting paranormal. But this new site, I'm gonna use, I'm not sure what I think about it, guys, so we're gonna do it together tonight. It might be a crazy shit show, but it might be the best show we've ever had. Let's give it a shot. But this is more like the kind of stuff, I don't know if it's going to show you, that our house astrologer here in the chat room joining us live, Steph, she's often sharing things like Mars, sesquiquadratral Uranus, like all of these different geometric ways that the planets line up with each other. And if you start breaking it down in that way, it almost becomes a little overwhelming. I am not going to lie. Mars, Uranus, Moon sextile Saturn, Moon conjunction this, Moon trine that, Moon trine this. But what we are going to do is I'm going to look through this list, and hopefully, with your guys' help and a little bit of patience, we will write down the highlights for each and every day this week and try and figure it out. The very first thing, let's kind of figure this out for tomorrow. You guys, it is the 10th tomorrow. And that means the moon is getting ready to be full soon. And it's going to be a beautiful, Capricorn this month? I forget. I haven't looked ahead completely.
I think it's the opposite, isn't it? Capricorn new moon, Cancer full moon.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't.
I might be
I,
wrong.
I think
You're
you
more the
are.
moon.
I
You're
think
more
it's
the
the
moon.
other way.
Yeah, you're more the moon person than me.
I
I
think
always
it's
thought
the
it was the opposite of whatever sun sign you're in.
it's the other way.
Because the moon would be. Think about it. The moon would be opposite of the sun when it's full, and it would be new moon. It would be the same. So if we're in Capricorn, the new moon would be in Capricorn, and then opposite because you're having the sun bounce off of it. It would be 180 degrees. Would be the opposite sign.
Look at him, and that would be the opposite side. Well,
It's
I'm
just
trying to. I'm going to
how
see
my
if I'm
brain
going to.
works.
And that's why we love it, is because it's so objective and it's so able to see all that math. And I am not seeing that math. Instead, I look at it and I see it like it's on a press or on a wheel. So I know that Venus right now is in Sagittarius and it's not quite direct, and that the moon is growing into a new moon. It's got to be. It's a new moon. We're moving into the new moon. And that this new moon is going to be on the 11th. I know it's on the 11th on my calendar. So it's not quite tomorrow. Not
Yep.
quite
Steph has
tomorrow.
it. Capricorn.
Yeah, she says new moon in
Yep.
Capricorn. But
Full
that's on
moon
the
should be
11th.
Cancer.
That's on the 11th.
Oh
So don't
no.
get
Yeah,
ahead of
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Tomorrow, it's just going to be Venus and Jupiter. And it is, we don't do too much of these, but this is the biggest thing that they're showing me that we need to start paying attention to. And it's semi-square Pluto on the edge. So Pluto shaken right now in that big move that we're going to see on January 20th. And it's Venus kind of shimmy shaking right there in Jupiter, direct and semi-square with Pluto. Look at any personal placements at 19, 20, and 21 degrees on your stuff for this new moon coming up, says Steph. And that's a really great point. Anything that you're seeing in the similar degrees point as that moon sign is what you kind of want to look at. This really is the calm before the storm. When I think of Venus and a fire space kind of getting ready to go direct for us this month, I think, okay, this is a good spot to be maybe thinking about romantic stuff, maybe to be prepping for the stuff we're going to see coming up in the new moon, because, we can look ahead a little bit and we know that it's coming. And that's a new slate, a new opportunity. It's going to be darkness. So I always think about all the animals out there. If you're not completely with all of your tools to go out into the dark, if you're not able to leave your hidey hole and go out there for something you really need, the new moon is usually where things are quiet and things are dark. And right now, the sun is in Capricorn and it's kind of a creative space. But tomorrow, you guys, Wednesday, the very first day for us to put something down and think about, okay, what's happening on the 10th? Nothing major on the 10th, with the exception that Venus semi-square Pluto, and then the moon continuing to wane.
You're
Okay.
kind of putting me on the spot here, so I got to go full disclosure. So I'll defer to you and Steph. On
On
these,
semi-square?
anything smaller than the sextile, so the semi-square and the semi-sesquidade and
I don't
all
know
those
anything
other
about those really.
all those other ones, I don't pay enough attention to them that I feel I would do a disservice if I tried to remember and give you my view on it as well. Although I will say it's much like on a microscope, if you got the coarse tuning and the fine tuning,
Mhm.
these little degrees are fine tuning. So I think they're very valuable when you're doing like a very individual like chart or things like that. Um, I feel like when we're talking very large macro things that everybody's going to be seeing, I feel there can be a lot of misses when we do that. But that's just my opinion. So I'm going to defer to the two of you guys.
Oh, well, she's mentioning that she says the moon is really important. And, as far as today into tomorrow, so let's kind of take a step back. Today, as well as tomorrow, a really big thing, and we kind of mentioned it a little bit last session, I suppose. Mars. Mars moving with the moon, very close with the moon, but Mars and Capricorn, the sun and Capricorn, um, everything in Capricorn. When in doubt, Mercury in Capricorn. It's all in Capricorn right now, and the sun moving pretty closely with the moon, everything over into that space. It's a really heavy Capricorn moment. So I wonder, when you think of that for those planets there, what do you feel like for Capricorn is really important to mention?
Well, I always say, Capricorn, the little goat climbing the mountain. It's all about achievement, achievement, achievement. And so I'll also add the two most, in my opinion, the two most intense signs in the zodiac are Capricorn and Scorpio, but they're like the opposite ends of that, where Scorpio is very emotional intensity and Capricorn energy is intense, but it's very cold intensity. It's kind of I don't care about the interpersonal cost. We're going to climb that mountain. So, or they're like the ones, 100 years ago that would like drive their horses and get to their destination, even if it killed the horses. They'd be like, it's that kind of energy.
We'll get there no matter what.
We'll
That's
hit that. Well,
horrible.
yeah, we'll achieve the goal regardless of the cost.
hmm Well, and when I'm thinking of Mars, I think of motivation, I think of drive. When I think of the sun, I think of our ego, our pride, what it is we're showing the world. When I think of Mercury, I'm thinking of our communication, what we're hollering. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And so all of this being in Capricorn, Capricorn, I kind of think of the ice cold asshole who's sitting on his hoard, very well aware of all the things. I kind of see it as maybe the what's his face from Lord of the Rings that takes over the mountain, and he takes back all the gold from the family and the five kings. And I just feel like that's Capricorn to me. They've got these deep-seated plans. They've got these rules that they have to follow, and they've got maybe even a ton of gold in their mountain to be making big decisions for people.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a big deal. So tomorrow, as you kind of prep for the rest of the week, because it's going to be hump day, a good idea to use Capricorn energy, use cold, patient thinking energy. Things might feel slower than you would like. You might feel exhausted and sluggish lately going into this new moon. So be it. And then on the 11th, new moon in Capricorn. Um, 11th into the 12th. When you think of a new moon specifically, I know that you're not a big moon guy, but how do you feel about the moon? Paying attention to that space.
Well, new moon. This is a new cycle, so it's since it's in Capricorn, I feel like this next month cycle is about achievement, and I always feel it's interesting that it comes at the start of the year. So you think about like New Year's resolutions, things along that line. Like, what do you want to achieve? So yeah, I feel this is a very achievement focused lunar cycle.
Achievement focus. So if you guys have not written down your what? Your resolutions,
Goals for the year, all those things.
affirmations, afformations, long-term
Just so
career
anybody knows what
goals.
I'm doing here, since I'm not making eye contact, I'm still looking for that goddamn picture.
um Capricorn has the tenacity, patience, and quiet capacity to do not only a 1 day, a 5 year, but maybe even a 10-year plan. This is a great new
Yep.
moon, whatever it is you're doing or spending it, whomever you're spending it with, a great time to do a vision board or put together your goals for the new year. They're going to be
And
able to manifest.
regardless of your sign, even if you're not a Capricorn, whatever at the 12 months where we have these different cycles for all 12 of the signs, you can still connect into that energy. So even if you're not a Cap here, you can kind of connect into that achievement focused energy.
Even if you're not a Capricorn wizard, I'm a Virgo wizardress, and so I feel like I'm still going to be able to do that. Thinking and writing down resolutions, 1 year, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan. I've already got them. You know that, guys. But writing them down, speaking them out, sharing them with other people, that's extremely important. So January 11th, that is what is to keep in mind for that. The next big thing is going to be January 12th. Doo, doo, doo. 9th, so 10th, 11th. Is that going to be Friday? Friday the 12th? It is.
Can
Not
you
Black
believe we're almost
Friday.
halfway through January?
No, I don't like to think about
Like
that.
this show, our cycle for this show is going to end, and we'll be halfway through January. Right?
I know, and 1/12th all the way through the year. Guys, it's freaking me out. Okay, and January 12th. Um, I have this written in a new journal now, so I don't get to cut and paste it like I did so easily before in the previous shows. I'm learning. I like that. January 12th, the celestial warrior Mars, again, Mars, the big bad voodoo daddy, in Capricorn, and Jupiter in Taurus are going to be aligning, trining up.
Trying. Okay.
So Mars in Capricorn trine Jupiter in Taurus.
So
Bold
this is an interesting
risks.
one because trying is kind of synergy. Jupiter's opportunity. So opportunity in Taurus, stable and indulgent. Mars is action. Capricorn is achievement. So this is a very good energy to achieve things that are going to give one stability and feed their kind of indulgent side. So this is good. This is a good. The energy is going to be towards getting things done, achieving things. So there's going to be very active energy on Friday, and it's going to move towards making people feel more comfortable. So it's a good thing.
Loving it. It's a good thing. Being active, being forward, being feeling like you've got that new. I think of that moving into um, being prepared. I love it when I feel prepared. I know oftentimes fire signs or even really
And finally,
confident water signs might be able to just do things without a
I'm
plan.
just going to look real quick. Can you see that?
Let's see.
That's where Creeper Hall. That's Creeper Hallway.
Yeah,
I
your
think
phone doesn't white out.
I think it's kind of blurry, but and then I got another one here that's a little farther back. But
Yeah.
yes, it's a white like head with a smear behind it, low to the ground.
So creepy.
Certainly
Take
not
it all away.
certainly not dust, and it's in that exact same spot where they recorded that thing calling it.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Man, that thing is creepy every time I see it. The chat room kind of speaking really, really highly to that Capricorn. Don't forget to aim high. Good point. Capricorn again. King of the mountain, troll mountain. Don't think you can't. Don't think that you can't ask for this or that or aim high or want the world. Ask for it all. This is a really good new moon to be doing that, putting forth those goals. Um, so following up with that, Mars, following up with that, Jupiter. Jupiter, I always think of as the Chris Farley planet. You guys, if you listen to me often, you
I
know
love that
that.
analogy.
Well, I do. I see him, and I know it was his birthday, and so I saw a bunch of Chris Farley stuff. And every time I see the fat guy in the little coat or him flying through, the scene, really in any skit, I just think, gosh, that's Jupiter all the way, just really expanding, doing all the things. And I feel like there's going to be some of that energy on Friday night into Saturday morning. So then it'll be Saturday morning, January 13th. Okay. So put a dot down in your journal, guys. If you've got the free digital online, I'm going to put that in the chat. Maybe it will share it. Maybe it won't. I have it in my Google Drive, so we'll see. I've got my own copy that I'm using, guys. You can use it too. Mercury. On January 13th, Saturday morning, Mercury in Capricorn will gift us with wings of messenger, reputation, all sorts of messages from the sea goat, the Capricorn space. And it is going to be, let's see, lining up with boom, boom, boom. Still the sun, but mostly Mercury and the sun lining in Capricorn, specifically on the 13th.
So they're conjunct.
Yeah.
So
And with
it's combining the energy. So all on achievement. Sun is like your external force. Mercury is communication. So I would say as far as like goals and what people want, their communication will be true and aligned. So pay attention to what is communicated on Saturday, particularly with what people want and what people plan to do, because they will be speaking their own personal truths.
And then you have the moon waxing, squaring off with Uranus. And the moon on the 13th, on that morning, it's still in Capricorn. No, it's moved into Aquarius.
Okay.
It's just moved over into Aquarius
Yep.
on that 13th, and then squaring off with Uranus, which is retro. The only one that's in retrograde, actually, is
Oh, I
Uranus.
got a comment before I do this. Field guy saying, "Didn't the world end already?"
No, we're still here.
No, we're in the honeymoon phase until 2027 is when it starts getting interesting. And
Yeah.
even then, it won't end. We'll have decades of World War II or World War Z type dystopian.
Guys, we got cyberpunk shit to do.
Ooh.
The fun hasn't started yet.
We got a long way to go before we hit like Mad Max territory, but it starts in
Guys, get
it
your
starts in
cars ready.
27. This is all
We got 3 years.
Uranus and Aries. That's when you have to start paying attention to like really bad stuff happening. All right, let me go back to so square is actually
Moon.
conflict. So moon in Aquarius. So moon is your inner world, your emotional world. Aquarius is kind of both the rebel, but also kind of the social justice warrior out there. How the world should be, what needs to change for the world, and that's going to come into conflict with Uranus, which is actually the kind of force of change and the curveball, oddball out there. But it's in Taurus that doesn't want to do much of anything. So I view this energy as folks want to change the world, but the world just ain't moving. So it's just going to be frustrating.
Man, that Michael Jackson song ain't going to do nothing for nobody. It's just going to do nothing. I think of Uranus as the curveball often, and I wonder when I see that moving in the calendar, I think, Saturday morning after a new moon, what is it that you could hear? What messages might you receive? And what feelings might get shaken up a little bit on
So
Saturday
my
morning?
warning here is this might make people impatient, and so they may try to like force the change. So this is kind of an energy that might cause people to do some stupid things.
Tired of waiting, tired of doing this, I'm tired of doing that. And so people are going to rush it. People are going to be saucy. So yeah, some kind of, and Steph always adding her stuff in the chat room, guys. So if you don't join us in the chat, what are you doing? I'm trying to get situated, but adding that Capricorn, knowing that Capricorn and the moon just coming out of that is so much about career and reputation. Moving into Aquarius, that's that water bearer, that alien sign, that sign that's all about information and change. All of these people that are having major life change in their career, but also in their identity, like their marriage, their roles. I feel like doing psychic readings for people, I often see that pattern where suddenly I get 5 or 6 people requesting, "Hey, I just found my partner cheating on me." Hey, 5 or 6 people just now getting divorces. Hey, 5 or 6 people just now getting promotions, maybe big life changes in their career. These things move like people do at the grocery store. They move in patterns and waves. And I think that that wave of drama around your career, growth around your reputation.
See, I almost see it like, Capricorn, you try to achieve things, and then what you don't achieve, it kind of hits and goes, well, what do I need to change? Or what around me needs to change? What in my environment needs to change if I wasn't getting what I want? And so it's almost like that shift of I'm going to try to achieve, and then if I didn't get what I wanted to achieve, what am I going to actively focus on changing to be able to set myself up to achieve it? So it's kind of like moving towards the goals you didn't hit, then shift to changing things. I'll say blowing things up, but that's not really what it's just kind of like this system isn't working for me. So what do I need to change in my environment to better suit my goals?
What do we need to change in my environment to better suit my goals?
And I think they all kind of go through that kind of progression, because then you get to Pisces where it's like, well, maybe I need to do some deeper introspection.
Yeah.
Let's see what really are my goals, and so I think and it's kind of that pendulum back and forth between external focus versus internal focus.
This week. Okay, I'm excited to see how this balance comes to all of us and how by the 20th we end up surviving. Field guy, if you're talking about things to look out for, it'll be the 20th. But we're not yet there. So the 13th, Saturday morning. Okay. The 14th, Sunday morning. This is something that's not too big into me. Venus and Ceres. Again, we don't cover Ceres that often, but they are conjunct in Sagittarius. So if you are someone who is kind of, looking at asteroids and dwarf planets and smaller things. This is relative. Anytime I see something conjunct, they're conjunct together. So I just kind of feel like it's, the cosmic guitar string being strung extra loud. So Venus and Sagittarius, that might be a great day for romance, art, sex, those kinds of things, sensuality, Sunday morning. Um, it's the only thing that I have
One
for
thing too to keep in mind is
14.
conjunct is the strongest of all these aspects we talk about, because they're right over top each other. It's the strongest energy. It's the strongest aspect. So
So for
you're
those
combining you're
people
combining the two elements.
in the chat, if that lets me post it, I don't know if it will. I've got the astrological. Just go visit theplanetstoday.com. You can see them. You can move them through the days. You can watch what we're doing. You can see it as we're talking about it and like visually line it up. The 15th is another conjunct that kind of lands itself um, on the calendar. So put a dot down, guys, if you're doing your journal with us. And it is the moon waxing with Saturn. So moon waxing conjunct with Saturn in Pisces.
Pisces.
What? So, and Neptune's in Pisces. We're getting ready to go direct with that here this month. It's going to shake and shiver.
I'm gonna throw a joke out here because I think I have some of my Pisces folks in the chat that give me crap, even though I feel I'm very kind to Pisces. They always tell me that I'm picking on them. Pisces is very introspective. It's the last sign, so it's kind of like that deathbed perspective. A 90-year-old person is going to have a different view of the world and life than a 13-year-old, which is kind of where I put Aries. And so it's a lot more self-sacrificial. There's a lot more bigger perspective. There's more view on like the greater good, things along those lines. And so in this case, you have the moon, which is your emotional state, combining with Saturn, which is really kind of like rules. And so I feel there will be a little bit of element on kind of more greater good type things, possibly some rule changes on these. So whenever I see a Saturn aspect, this is where I do pay attention to what's going on with like government and things, because this is where rules and proposals and different things come through when Saturn's involved. So pay attention to that. And then I would just add on the asteroids. I kind of pay attention to Chiron and Lilith, but those are like the only two. So I don't really know the other ones. And I just also want to add that if I'm looking distracted, we're having like
Major
30 to
storms.
50 mile an hour winds, and I have branches right straight ahead of me is my window, and I have these branches that are going really close, and so it actually looks every once in a while like there's somebody like running up to my window, and it's like
Ah.
stuff. I've noticed myself doing it a couple times. I don't know if you all been able to pick up on it, but if you see me looking kind of distracted or jumpy, that's what it is. Is these branches are like blowing right in front of my window.
I know so many of us are going through storms, and I'm sad to say someone in the chat room chimed in on our predictions. We talked about tornadoes moving across Florida and across the country. We talked about major tornadoes kind of hitting. And it's not just weather, which is a divination practice, not just a few many decades ago, witchcraft, to be able to predict the weather. But you can watch it. You can see what's going to happen and you can kind of know. And we're seeing a lot of those things happening now. And then another weird synchronicity, Matt. I know for everybody in storms, but sometimes to see something wild and weird and positive. Steph put in the chat room, Venus in Sagittarius is that reminder that love is a verb. Um, I posted that today on my social media. Uh, Not that phrase specifically, but a back end to it. And on the very back of the message was love is a verb. So that was like very small detail that got repeated back to me a few times. Like love is a verb.
And
We're
I
going to
mean,
be,
and I mean nothing derogatory on this to anybody on this. That is such a Sag thing to say.
yeah, because you're doing something, you're exploring, you're out
Sag, yeah,
doing the thing,
Sag is action, and yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
doing the thing.
Sag
So
is not. You know, Venus and Sag is not a Netflix and cuddle vibe.
no, it is not.
There, we'll go on a weekend whim and go climb Machu Picchu or whatever that is. Like that's kind of Sag vibes.
And I also feel like I'm staring a little differently at my screen too because I have a little bit of a headache. So the bright light is like a lot. January 15th. January 15th is the next thing that you want to be putting on your calendar. We're just going day by day, guys. And the 15th is going to be Monday. And in our journal, I have written Sun and Capricorn sharing harmonious bonds with Neptune and Pisces, a cosmic force aligned to inspire us for strengths to uplift, and energies of the day are focused on advocacy. So now I look back and I think, okay, but what
Are they
lineup
sextile?
are they? Right. I didn't
Uh,
write that like I
I'll
usually do.
mute because my dogs are annoying me. Let me yell at them.
Yeah, no, you're fine. So I'm looking now, Sun and Capricorn and Neptune and Pisces. Sun and Neptune, they're a 45-degree angle. So that's what in astrological speak.
I'm sorry, I missed that because I was distracted. But did you say 45 degrees?
Yeah.
45 is
Is that trine?
that sextile?
It's a
Now
quarter.
you got me messed up on my math.
I am totally meant to do that too.
It is. Well, no, because it's 3 sextiles, so it's
Steph
how
says
I always
Venus.
think. How I always think of it, and I got to do the math backwards. Is so just so you know, when you do the alchemy, if you know the 4 elements, and then if you know the 3 cardinal fixed mutable, the yin elements are earth and water. The yang ones are air and fire. On either one of those sides, the opposite ones are always sextile. So water is always sextile to earth. Earth is sextile to water. I want to say I think it is 45, but I have to go back and I don't want to
I think it is
misspeak because
too.
I don't want to misspeak on my math here. And then the other thing too is your opposite. So your opposite sign. Yeah, that would be right. Yeah, it's 45 because the hang on. The one that's 180 is your opposite. No, it's 60. 60, 180, 240. Are your
Dang, look at
sextiles.
that math. That's so impressive to me.
Because
I do
the
not.
180 is your opposite. So so you'll be sextile. So like for me, if I'm a Capricorn, my opposite sign is Cancer, which is also the cardinal sign. So that's the other way that I kind of mentally look at it. And then the other two in that opposite um, element, in my case, Pisces and Scorpio, I'd be sextile to. And then the same thing with square. So the cardinal signs in your opposite element, in my case, Aries and Libra, I am square to. And then the other ones you get into these, I forget the terms, but they're like the Ceci quadrate and those different ones, which I
You
don't
got to
feel
be
good
good at
about.
math to be good at astrology, guys. If you're sitting there in math and you're wondering, when am I ever going to use this? And you say, when you grow up to be a young witch, you are going to need to know the difference between quadranseptile and sextile and trine. And you got to know this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Sextile is 60 degrees, trine is 120.
Yep.
Um, so there we go. And all the astrologers going to quickly type their numbers in the chat. And thank you guys, because when I'm looking at it, again, you're looking at it like a whole, like a whole pie, and you cut it in quarters, and then you cut it in all of your little pieces, and you've got Capricorn down here, and the sun's in that, and then Neptune and Pisces over here. And so they're just kind of off shot to each other. Particularly mentioning on the 15th that Neptune and
I'll,
Pisces kind of quaking.
I'll just share though, if you don't want to do the math piece of this, the cheat sheet way to do it is memorize the elements that the 12 signs are in, and then if they are fixed, mutable, or cardinal, and you can kind of cheat that way, and that gets you most of it.
That's how I do it. That's not cheating. That's just how we do it.
That's easier, you know.
That's how I do. But
It's a
still,
faster way to do it than doing the math. But to be fair to the folks, you know, the math is certainly much more precise. But if you want a quick, off the top of your head way to look at it, that's an easy way to. And I feel that's an easy way to like start getting your head wrapped around it, and then you can get deeper into it as you go. Because they're definitely, I don't want to say that there's value to those other angles. It's just the intensity goes down. So if you're just trying to get your head wrapped around things, it could be totally overwhelming if we throw every single type of aspect or angle into
there's
it. So we
thousands.
try to keep it kind of mid to high level on this.
Yeah, because you look at it and you figure, gosh, if you've got 9 planetary systems that you're looking to measure going around in a 360-degree circle, and you're looking at where those 9 are lining up. If you guys look at those charts where it's all those numbers, it looks like a spirograph out of control, and you think, what in the hell am I even looking at? This looks like a big mess.
It's general. I'm going to derail you again here, but it's a general thing for compatibility too. So when you think about it, like, you know, what signs am I compatible? These are generalizations, and you're more than just like your sun sign and things. But another nice way to look at it is the same element and its complement. So, you know, earth, water, or air, fire tend to get along really well. And then the ones that you are 90 degrees to. So if you're a fixed sign, the opposite one. So, like if you are a Taurus, your fixed signs on the opposite side are Leo and Aquarius. So those are the ones that technically you would clash with the most. So, like in my case, it's Libra and Aries, but this is where you need to figure out more, look more into your chart. I have a Libra stellium, which means 3 planets in the same sign. So I have a lot of Libra energy. So I kind of click with Libras. So for me, it's blatantly Aries, or tend to be the ones I clash with. But again, all stereotypes, or generalizations. That's another way to look at it. So if you want to look at like what are you compatible, and if you pull up any blog or anything where they start talking about compatibility, I can almost predict ahead of time this is how they're going to break it down, whether they do it that way or not. And when you look at it, that's usually what it is. And then your opposite one, your opposite sign, which is always in the complementary element. So, you know, earth and water together, air and fire together, they're kind of like the tension, but they complete each other. So there's always usually good compatibility with like your opposite sign.
Goodness gracious. I'm glad that you are able to see some of these things, because I remember once there was a time, believe it or not, as Matt and I were researching the paranormal together and wondering what correlations when you're doing psychic intuitive research. Like if you're wanting to fine tune your predictive ability and minimize your skepticism, how can we do that in our brain? Like objectively do that. And astrology and math statistics, I would say have been a big tool for just being able to see stuff and relate yourself to it, empathize with the universe a little bit. Um, I know oftentimes I'm always sharing, gosh, guys, when the anything with Neptune shimmies and shakes, that's whenever I'm looking out for things. So Monday night on the 15th, the moon is conjunct with Neptune in Pisces. That's a little moment that we're going to have on Monday night that I would say, as Matt's breaking down the math, um, I subjectively look at it and go, oh man, as I'm hearing this mathematical breakdown, Monday night's going to be a rough night for anyone struggling through their depression or their addiction lately. Monday night's going to be the night that's particularly difficult, which is interesting because you might think it would be a Friday. It's going to be a Monday night. Going
Your
into that
emotion,
Tuesday.
your emotions align with your delusions.
Hmm.
So all the things that are, and like you said before, like the substance abuse, like just all the things that you are misthinking or overthinking or all that kind of like unhealthy psychological stuff that's cooking to varying degrees in all of us is going to align perfectly with our emotional state. So it is
Yeah.
one of those, I'll call it like bad decision Monday, but it's it's not good. At
Yeah.
least it's not on a Friday. I think it's a little. You can still get yourself in trouble, but I feel it's a little harder to get yourself in trouble on a Monday than it is on a weekend. So
Yeah. Well, and then it brings us to Tuesday, the 16th, and Mercury is in Capricorn, and Mars is in Capricorn, and they are both squaring off with the moon waxing in Pisces. And that is what is happening on next Tuesday. That's very important for us to mention. So as you laugh and I spit, what should we share with the
first of all, I
listeners?
feel like
But
this is an element of like I don't care how I feel about it. I'm gonna freaking do it anyway.
yeah,
And the other thing to keep in mind is if somebody on Tuesday says they're going to do something, they're freaking going to do it. So take them at their word because Mercury and Mars are aligned in Capricorn, which is intense, achievement oriented, and has little to no regard for anybody's feelings. So if they're going to go ahead and say they're going to do something, or particularly if it's like a threat, people if they threaten things on Tuesday,
they mean it.
they're absolutely going to follow through on it. There's no
Yep,
bluffing on Tuesday.
they're putting sugar in your gas can. They're gonna do it. If they're gonna quit that job, they're doing it. If they're taking that lawn chair that they said they were gonna take out, they're doing it. But that also, I would say, goes for how do we use these pieces of astrological energy and advice to our benefit? Well, that means that whatever we say on Tuesday is stuff that's going to likely be manifested a little bit easier. So if you wake up, stare at yourself in the mirror, and say, we're going to do this today, we are going to get this done, then whatever it is.
I think this Capricorn energy, I always think of, I don't know if you saw this movie or remember, this is going back a little while, and it was a remake. It's old. The remake's old now, but The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And he corners him at one point, and Harrison Ford's like, I didn't kill my wife. And Tommy Lee's like, I don't care. I'm arresting you anyway. It's like, that's kind of the like,
Dang, I do remember
I don't
that.
give a crap what your situation is. I'm here to do this job, and I'm gonna do this job. That to me is kind of that cold cap energy.
Yeah, and that's very Capricorn vibe. There's a handful of people in my life that are Capricorns, and one of them is a police officer. A lot of them are police officers. It feels like, which I think is a great job for that sign. A lot of thinking, a lot of cold, calculated, strategic. Yeah, I'm going to do what I've got to do, and I said I'm going to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. Um, Field guy and people in the chat. I do what I want to do. It's a
I'd
George
say
Thorogood
pay
song.
attention really quick too. I'd say on Tuesday, you always ask me like what on the world stage and stuff. Look for diplomatic statements on Tuesday because they're going to be, a lot of times there's a lot of fluff, and for like domestic, I feel like things that are going to get communicated diplomatically on Tuesday are real, and the country saying it's going to follow through with it.
They're going to do it. What Kim Jong Un says on Tuesday, Kim Jong Un is going to do on Tuesday. So keep an ear to the wall if you can. And
or intend to do. That doesn't mean they're going to be able to get away with it, but they may, that may be their intent.
they're going to do it. Yeah, they may not get away with it, but they're going to try. They're going to kick
Mm-hmm.
their foot in the air and push their finger on the button. Um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, guys. It can also be a good thing. If they say that they're going to pay you, they say they're going to write that check, they say they're going to get that email sent. That means that finally maybe we'll see that push through and get some of that stuff moving.
And I feel that's a little bit of a difference between like the Scorpio intensity and the Capricorn intensity. Scorpio will do lots of bluffing and lots of things to kind of move things around, where Capricorn will be just more like I don't give a crap. Like, this is what I'm going to do, and you can't stop me.
Tommy Lee Jones. Now I want to watch Men in Black. I don't care. I'm here to arrest you. Yeah, daggone it. And then he jumped down the waterfall and he jumped into the water. I remember exactly. Yeah. So a lot of Capricorn energy. I would say if you're now getting into astrology for this next week ahead, if you're a young alchemist, you're a young witch or wizard out there doing some work, Archangel Uriel, Alchemy, the cardinal sign of Capricorn of Earth. This is silence. This is being quiet. This is being patient. This is being gracious. And so look to the Capricorns in your life on how to do that and how to collaborate with silence. Right?
A little other perspective from Steph.
Ooh, looking out for groups and people collaborating. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with a brand new edition. You gotta do that. We gotta be on that vibe. Aquarius on the 20th. So many people dropping albums. So many people going, I'm going to tell you all the truth. I'm going to tell you the things, all the Epstein, all the secrets, all the drops, all the UFO disclosures, all the campaign secrets you ought to know, all the things. It's kind of lining up to January 20th's big information drop. And that's the age of Aquarius. We've been talking about this since the 60s, guys. So it's nothing new. It's just exciting that it's upon us here in a few weeks and that we're going to be doing it together. So, all right, Capricorn in the calm before the storm, as we might say. And for anybody listening, please, please, please join us on Subspace, on Odyssey Radio, on the Paranormal Channel, on Astrology and Alchemy, on Please Stay with Sunday Night Dead, on all of the social media sites that we use. They're all still free. They're all still free to subscribe, free to follow, free to sign up, get those notifications so that you can join us every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And then hopefully, last week we did our prediction show. It's always the best show of the year, but we're going to have to start topping it with our musical shows. So,
Yeah.
songs for Capricorn, maybe something that we can put out this weekend or as soon as possible.
I
So,
gotta find. I hope I still find my. I wrote all that stuff down, and then I lost those lists, and now I'm like, I gotta go back and find my list.
no,
So.
you do. You got to start all over. When I think of the Capricorn vibe, I think of the concrete. I always forget their name. The concrete something, and it's in the soundtrack for Pump Up the Volume, and it's Everybody Knows.
Huh,
Everybody knows the dice are loaded.
huh.
Everybody knows, and it's
I don't know
that
that one.
it's a really good cover of Everybody Knows.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of the Capricorn vibe for the week. But I'm gonna be posting some songs and getting those playlists together, and then hopefully everyone is able to join us for some new moon Capricorn readings and specials. So if you guys want a reading, if you want a birth chart reading, let us know. And what am I forgetting, Matt?
I think we got it, and then I'll just be doing more ghost stuff on Sunday. I'm gonna try to push. I'm resolving this year. We'll see. The year always gets away from me, but I'm resolving to put more of my ghost stuff out there as well. I always vacillate between, is it worth trimming it down and getting it out there for folks to see, or should I just keep it for my own enjoyment? And so I'm kind of leaning towards getting more stuff out there. So
Get it out there. Good word too, vacillate. Ooh, 20 bonus points. Um, I love that word. Okay, we're gonna see
all right,
more paranormal things, more creepy things out of Trans Allegheny. And for those of you who didn't join us at the very beginning of the show, Matt is going to elaborate on some of the weird experiences he has had with hearing strange voices coming out of the phone as he makes his script orders like Mothman. Don't get out. What? Anyway, it's the aliens. I'm going to put my money on aliens. But until next week, we just won't know.
All right. So I will see you all Sunday, and we'll all see you back on Tuesday. Have a good one, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night.